Early in my journey into becoming a more professionally certified and recognized coach, someone who was cultivating coaching skills around very well established methodologies around the ICF's expectations. I was really interested in how to grow towards the master level of coaching. That brought me to Dr. Ben Coe of the Masters Academy and a really wonderful training program. And I asked him in a webinar what I should do in order to become an MCC or a Master Certified Coach. And I really appreciated his attitude, and I've heard this attitude from other Master Certified coaches along my own journey to become an MCC. It's not about what the coach is doing to figure it out, to get to where they need to go, to get that credential, that piece of paper. It's about who the coach is for the client. And this is it's nothing new. When you look at the markers of success with the International Coach Federation, it is truly about who the coach is. We could divide the marker or the competencies into what the coach does to create awareness, what the coach does to create action, but also who the coach is for the client. And that who of the coach is a core part in helping the client grow in a very psychologically safe environment, an environment and a relationship that is built on trust and rapport, and one that is demonstrating regular partnership, which helps the client grow and empower themselves. When we look at the competencies, competency number 4 is the foundation of who the coach is for the client. And this is the coaching presence. That's the name of the competency, coaching presence. And a coach needs to demonstrate their presence and who they are in two main ways: that they are a present partner. They are present for the client in every session, and even to some degree, to a reasonable degree between sessions, they are there for their clients. And they're also a partner. Every input, every interaction, everything that the coach does ought to be driven by the sense of creating a partnership instead of creating some sort of dependent relationship. Who the coach is contributes or hinders a coaching relationship. So let's look at some markers of success for what makes great coaching presence according to the ICF, and we'll break these into those two parts, being present and being a good partner. Let's start with the first 4. Number 1, coaches' inputs need to reflect the whole of the client as well as the client's agenda. We'll be talking in another video about 4 clients that are always present in every coaching session and how the coach ought to take the whole client into account as they're coaching, which is a real unpacking of this particular marker. And it's very important. It's in my opinion, a very foundational concept. And I'm just wording in a certain way with that other video. But the coach's inputs, everything that I say as a coach, either verbally through observations and questions, or through my body language and my and all those good humming sounds that we humans make to each other when we're trying to show that we're listening, that we are there. Our inputs need to be reflective of what the client wants out of the session. Now, this is balanced by some other things. We always want to make sure that we are serving the client as a coach and that we are following their agenda and we're making sure that that agenda is about their growth and development. As long as those things are in place, the coach needs to be there to support the client. It's the client's session. It's the client's agenda. It's their agreement that they set in the beginning of the relationship and at the beginning of this particular session. So everything I say, and when we listen to a recording, when we watch a recording, we can say, is everything the coach is offering a reflection of being present and having a sense of connection with this client as a whole person? Number 2, the coach is here. They're not over there. They're not looking at their phone. They're not distracted, and those distractions will come. It's not a matter of never being distracted as a coach. It's a matter of knowing how to quickly recover whenever there's a distraction. If the client hears, or if there's a siren going by on the client's side, the coach isn't distracted. The coach is focused. If there's a chicken or a duck crowing out of my window, which you might hear on some of these videos, the coach is going to be focused as long as that's not getting too picked up on the microphone. Is whatever is happening in the session is paramount. Whatever the client is experiencing is most important. It's not even important that the coach gets a full experience, that maybe the client's video is getting messed up, but the coach is there as best they can, and they're not drawing attention to the distractions. They are focusing and creating an environment that is safe and creative and allows the coach to be there for their client. And great ways that the coach demonstrates being present is that, and being here, is that they offer observations and they are very responsive in ways that are very empathetic. One of the things that we work with many corporate leaders at all levels is how might my way of speaking, how might my feedback, my critique, my language, my mannerisms, how might these things be perceived by the other person? And this is really oftentimes a coaching skill. Whenever I'm in a coaching session around this topic, I might briefly step into a coach training mode, offering a tool or framework that's utilized in coach training around being more empathetic, because it's a great, wonderful skill to have as a manager, but it is foundational and it is critical to be able to have as a coach. We need to think, how is what I'm saying, the way I'm saying it, the way I'm holding myself, the way I'm appearing on camera, how are all these things contributing to or hindering their experience? Put ourselves into their shoes as our clients and think about that. Are we helping? Are we demonstrating we are here for them? Marker number 3, we note and we explore energy shifts. Now, this is something that we do, but it demonstrates our coaching presence. It's also something that we see in some of the other markers around creating awareness and direct communication. And yet it's just a big part of showing a person that you are there with them. Instead of just taking in their words as data, you also take in the data of everything that is appearing, whether it's just by phone and you hear a tone shift, a pace shift. They're speaking faster, they're speaking slower. Their tone is excited, their tone is somber. Notice those things. And when a coach calls those things out, it says, I'm here with you. I'm in this performance together with you, and I'm responding. It's like we're on stage doing improv together, and everything you do, I'm going to respond positively to it. I'm going to draw attention to it in a healthy way so that we can continue to build learning and exciting things together. Number 4, I'm going to see myself as a present learner with the client. We are in the classroom together, side by side, in those really uncomfortable desks that we probably sat in high school. I'm there with them. And anything that they share, anything that they are learning about themselves, I don't glaze over that. I don't rush over that. I hear that. I'm like, oh, wow, that's exciting. And I ask them questions as if they are the teacher now and as if they are the star student in the class, and I want to learn from them because I am just as curious about what they are learning, what they are experiencing as they are. In fact, maybe even more so, because my enthusiasm for their learning and me being curious to learn more and to hear more and to witness their greatness in terms of how they are learning and growing, that only feeds the flame. It helps them become even more motivated in the coaching process. So the coach is present. I mean, that's something we should expect from coaching presence. But the other side of the markers of success is that the coach is demonstrating partnership throughout. We demonstrate partnership in a few different ways, 4 to be exact, at least in the ICF markers. Number 1, we partner in session direction. Competency number 2, marker number 5, make sure you team up with a client to follow their lead throughout the entire session. And part of that is we do these regular check-ins. Let's say at least 2, ideally somewhere around 4 to 5 check-ins over an hour's length of a coaching session. We want to pause, say, at the beginning of the session, you wanted this out of the conversation. Where are we right now? Or where would you like to go next? Or how close are we to what you wanted by the end of the session? All these kinds of questions are those partnering check-ins. You know, this is another area where the markers do overlap, but it's here in the coaching presence competency, because we want to make sure we understand as partner, we demonstrate partnership in the following of the agreement, the session agreement. So we'll check in. Number 6, we are partnering around the coaching inputs. And what I mean by that is whatever I say is up for interpretation. Whatever I say, even if I'm going to be offering a concept from coach training, like, hey, as you're describing the situation, this reminds me of a really useful framework and competency from the coach training field. Would you be interested in hearing about that and coaching around that as a possible way for you to grow in this situation? It's a pretty long-winded offer, but if they were to say, sure, yeah, I'm going to share some things, but I'm not going to be offended if they want to take that core competency from the ICF that I'm offering them in this coaching session. It's like, oh, this is the great stuff from the coaching field. And they're like, I like that, but I think how that would work in my space, and we run with whatever they say. They are the expert. There's boundaries around if they go some unhealthy direction, but most of the time they're creative. They are taking this concept, whatever the concept is, whatever the question is, whatever the observation is, whatever the tool, framework, whatever it is that the coach might offer in a session, the client needs to feel safe and entrusted with their ability to create, to adjust, to ponder and pose questions for themselves and to pick apart an idea. And even if the session goes a completely different direction than what we were anticipating by asking a question, we need to be willing to follow their lead and their intuition, because the client's intuition is more valuable than the coach's intuition. And the coach's job is to help the client's intuition shine. That's a really big trap for some coaches who believe that the coach intuition is the premium. It's actually the opposite. Our role is, number one, to help partner around anything we contribute, any intuition we have, to build up the awareness, build up the intuition, build up the instinct, and the learning of the client. That's the value, and that's why we're a partner. We partner by reflecting language. We reflect whatever we are seeing. We reflect mannerisms. We reflect on what's happening in session. Very similar to some other things we've seen with direct communication and powerful questioning. We are reflective. We are a mirror. And in that way, we are partnering. And finally, number 8, we partner in helping the client to voice whatever they're learning. Again, and the reason I do assessments in a way that assesses certain things, and those are going to be multiple markers of success from the ICF, in each of those categories, there's this overlap. Again, the reason for the overlap is we want to highlight that as part of partnering and the who of the coach, how we are being present, how we are demonstrating partnership. We are partnering around the learning and the awareness that the client is having in the moment. This is obviously very connected to the competency of creating awareness, which we are also going to look at in this training module. But this is the idea. Our job is not to create the awareness. Our job is not to give the awareness as if we are the guru and we are imparting our wisdom to the client. We help the client create their own awareness, and we partner around the client to help highlight those moments when they might have had an aha moment, and we help them pause. Hey, before you go into fixing anything, I just want to highlight, wow, that was a really amazing moment that you shared there. I noticed this is how your energy shifted. You got really excited. What, if you were to summarize in one sentence what you learned about yourself, what would your summary be? Highlight, partner around moments to create awareness. And in that way, we are truly being present as coach, as partner for the client. They're the star of the show, and we support them as a supporting cast member. I hope this is helpful. This is one of those things that's pretty hard to measure, so very important to be able to get feedback and grow in your ability to provide other coaches feedback on their coach presence. So make sure you're practicing and getting feedback for yourself. Thank you for tuning in. Keep coaching.